Hi, this is John Rowell for the Rowell Report. Today is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, and we now have a marketing department for the Pentagon to put a halo on all their actions so that Americans can get behind them, and this can help in recruitment to the U.S. military. So this is something new, apparently, for the Pentagon to have this marketing department. So the situation is that the U.S. continues to attack small boats off the coast of South America, killing the occupants or severely maiming them. In a recent attack, there was a double strike on one boat to kill the survivors. So there isn't anyone left to say, hey, we're fishermen, we're just out here minding our own business. We're having fun. We're boating about, or we're going from one island to another. So the final story winds up being what the Pentagon feeds to us about killing so-called narco-terrorists. And in other videos, I spoke about the whole term of narco-terrorist that doesn't actually exist. A narco is a businessman. They want to be invisible, and they want to have the lowest amount of cost and have the highest amount of profit. So they don't go doing terrorism that's completely out of line with their whole business model. And the terrorist is there to create fear among a population in order to get a political goal. So narcos are not politicians, they're just businessmen. They're moving a product which governments are actively trying to impede. So they use many mechanisms to move their products, and so they're not there to call attention to their existence. They want to be invisible, and so it is a far cry to try to match these two concepts, narco-terrorist. But anyway, this really fit the whole Trump narrative about attacking boats off of South America. And this was the lead up, of course, to the attempted regime change in Venezuela. So this is part of the narrative. You have to buy into the narrative. So apparently Americans are not buying into the narrative fast enough. So we need to have this marketing department to tell us about all the good they're doing for America, how they're saving lives, how they're protecting our shores. And all we need to do is take a look at a map of Venezuela. So here we have part of Venezuela. Sorry, it's cut off a little bit. But you can see down here somewhere is Peru. I guess this last boat was hit off the coast of Peru. I mean, they're just looking for boats that are in the open waters, and they can create the narrative that these are terrorists who are transporting drugs, and that, of course, the goal of that drugs is to get up to the United States. So anyway, we have on the way, we have Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, Mexico. So we have and we have different islands along the way. So we're supposed to believe that these little boats that are carrying very little, transporting very little cargo, is making a direct trip to the United States, which is more than 1,000 miles away. And with the tank of gas they have, they're supposed to be able to get there without having to stop. They're just going right to the United States without refueling or having another destination along the way. So this whole narrative, you can see here. So I'll just zoom out a little bit. So you can see the distances here in all these different. You have all kinds of different islands, and you have Aruba down here. We have Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto Rico, we have Haiti, we have Dominican Republic, we have Jamaica. So we have all these different places. And like I say, we're supposed to believe that a little boat that's traveling off the coast of Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, has as its final destination the United States, and that these boats are transporting exactly what they tell us they're transporting, some illicit drug which will kill lots of people. So this is, so this was a story created initially because they thought it could be believable, and Americans don't go to maps, they don't know geography, they don't know anything about the whole narco trade and how it gets to this country. And finally, the Americans believe that the border is secure. So, of course, with a secure border, the only way for these drugs to get into our country is by boat on the water, coming into our country through some port or some location along the Gulf of Mexico or along the Pacific Ocean. So anyway, all of these different narratives have created the pretext for the attack on Venezuela. And I imagine once the attack on Venezuela starts, that we will see a lessening of the attack on these boats, because this attack was really there just to justify this whole operation against Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela. And so the news media has been feeding us a whole bunch of narratives about the so-called phony election that took place. Some say that 80% of the vote was for the opposition candidate. Others say that the vote count was never made public. So then how do you get 80% of a vote count if you don't even know what the vote count was? So they continue to pump out narratives, and Americans just buy the narratives one after the other. They bought the narratives about Saddam without question, and they will continue to buy into these narratives. But apparently this isn't enough for the War Department. We have to be excited, enthusiastic. We should be on the streets applauding, and we should see, young men and women signing up for the military at high schools and at recruitment locations. So anyway, the Pentagon needs a marketing team. And I'm wondering, this whole movement of the Trump administration is really starting to look a lot like militarized, centralized governments that were built around some fundamental principle, like ethnic superiority or religious superiority. We have ethnic superiority in Germany. We have religious superiority, which was in Spain, built around the Catholic Church. So there was fascism in both countries. There was fascism in Italy. The fascism in Italy was also built around this kind of odd mix between return to the Roman times and at the same time built around a religious ideal around the Catholic Church. So anyway, now in the United States, we're building this government around the quote-unquote the pure white race. We can see the attacks of Trump on South Africa, attacking white farmers, and there's no real proof that they are carrying out some kind of genocide. But Trump has accused South Africa. So you can see kind of what their thinking is, what is important to them. But what is important right now is to get this oil, and President Trump probably thinks he can get all the oil in Venezuela. He'll pay off the national debt, and everybody will be giving high fives. It'll be a win-win. So, like I say, this needs some kind of marketing team that can sell this to the American people so they can see all the good things that we're doing. and not focus on this kind of fascism, which is slowly creeping into the White House and into the leadership of the U.S. government. And then I asked myself, well, who else might have had a marketing team that was fascist? So then all I had to do was ask a search engine about the Nazi government. So I'll move myself over here. So we have Joseph Goebbels led the Ministry of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda. This sounds kind of like what we're going to get from the Pentagon, the Ministry of Public Enlightenment. So you are going to understand it. You'll be enlightened. You'll be enthusiastic. You'll be shouting, standing on a chair, jumping up and down and happy when the U.S. is blowing up a fishing boat with some guy who hardly makes $100 a month going out to try to catch a couple of fish to sell. And you're jumping up and down when our planes are flying over Venezuela, dropping bombs on people here, there, and everywhere. Everything that goes along with warfare. So anyway, so if you're not in agreement with what the Trump administration is doing, especially the Pentagon, you need to be enlightened. So we got this kind of Ministry of Public Enlightenment, which is coming into the Pentagon and the War Department, and you can see that the Nazis used film, radio, rallies to control public opinion, promote Nazi ideology, and create both internal and external enemies. So Trump is certainly going out of his way to create enemies here and there. But anyway, the important thing about this marketing team, our marketing department for the Department of War, is that it will use all means available. And of course, the United States government, the NSA, the CIA, has a grip on social media. So this shouldn't be too difficult for them. Maybe they are just missing the right person to be able to spin the story the right way and with a lot of flash and flare. So this is what's coming to this country. And so, and then you can say, well, this isn't a fascist government that's coming, that, we're starting to, or at least the kind of the initial phase of a fascist government in the United States, because they've given everyone a fair shake, and they're respecting people's rights. But of course, in fascist governments, human rights are not respected. There is racism. Have you seen racism in the United States? Of course, it's out there. It's everywhere. Genocide. Of course, we've got the case of the genocide going on in Gaza, and totalitarian control. We're not quite there yet. Long ways to go, I think. There's still people in government who would oppose that. But the fact is that the media and social media is being how would you say, through mergers and acquisitions, there are fewer and fewer people who control the news, who control the narrative. So all we need to do is go and see what all the use of social media to shut down any discussions. For instance, recently you started to see in YouTube the disappearance of videos related to those who were in Gaza, and reporting on the attacks on innocent civilians. So those channels started to disappear, videos started to disappear, and this is how it goes. You get a national policy and a a decision from the top that certain content will not be allowed. And then these social media was supposed to be independent, which can be a format to get out information that no one else is sharing, become a symbol of censure and of mind control for people who only hear the same narrative repeated over and over and over again. So anyway, getting back to this whole thing, so anyway, I'll just play the clip here from the Pentagon briefing about the new marketing department, or the Department of Public Enlightenment. So let's play that.
Lastly, I would like to announce that the War Department has created a new division for strategic marketing that will be led by Abby Lower, who will hold the title of Deputy Assistant to the Secretary of War for Strategic Marketing. The division will be a new core function within public affairs and will complement our media and strategic engagement teams. The purpose of this new division is to create marketing campaigns that support the War Department's military recruitment efforts, providing a halo effect to the great work the military services are already doing to recruit our nation's warfighters.
So there we go, a halo effect for basically murder. If the War Department is out there blowing up boats and these people are just fishermen or even people who are carrying contraband, that is not a death sentence. So we are getting a halo effect on murder. So of course the Pentagon needs to be able to sell that. They still have 3 more years, and change in order to continue to expand this campaign that they have. And that is all coming at the expense of the taxpayer. So the taxpayer is paying to be manipulated, lied to, and given public enlightenment. So this is quite unfortunate, but this seems to go along the line of where we are heading now with the Trump administration. And of course, those who voted for President Trump didn't vote for this. We wanted a world without war, where the U.S. government was continuing to shell out billions towards these unending conflicts that were unproductive, that did nothing for this country, and which created a situation of conflict in the world. And for the United States to be able to reindustrialize, to be able to be competitive, the United States needs to focus all of its resources on rebuilding its educational system, of retraining, and to be able to provide resources to entrepreneurs in order to help this country grow. But if all the money that we have, that they're printing as fast as they can, are going to more unending conflicts, then this is really not what we voted for. And we hope that someone with some sense can begin to steer the ship in another direction. But right now, the ship is steaming towards conflict, towards another useless and unproductive war, and they will go into Venezuela and find that it's a little more difficult than they thought, and they will be there maybe for a year or 2. Of course, President Trump has 3 years left. How long could they be there? I would say at least 3 years in the jungle, trying to remove the Maduro government, put in Machado, who would basically betray her country to give away the national interest of their national resources to the wealthy oil companies in the Western hemisphere. So anyway, I don't see anything good coming out of a marketing department which puts a halo on murder. But anyway, this is where things are going with the Trump administration, and unless the ship slows down, changes course, we are heading for probably some major conflict. So this marketing department would also probably sell us future wars, like war with Iran, war with China. So I don't think that this is exclusively about the boats or Venezuela. So anyway, that concludes my video for today. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the future for future videos. If you have any comments to make, if you think that the marketing department to engage the public and have public enlightenment is a good thing, please let me know, and why you think that. And if you think that's a bad thing, a bad use of taxpayer money, please let me know as well. I'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Bye-bye.